Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Thursday, February 18th. New York, yo, let's go. Markets were down today, but I have to say I was impressed by the resilience. There's buying on every dip, and I was hoping to see a bigger decline so we get into some better longer-term support. That may still happen, but it's impressive. You know, you can learn a lot from listening to high-level athletes. There's a lot of similarities between what high-level athletes do, what they're capable of, their mental state, their mental game, and what we do as investors and traders, at least, at a high level. Because I don't know if any of you are into MMA, mixed martial arts, and the UFC. I'm into that. I train in jiu-jitsu, and I love to watch the fights. And last weekend was a fight, welterweight championship fight, Kamaru Usman against Gilbert Burns. If you follow UFC, you know who I'm talking about. And there was a fight analyst today that I was listening to who made some comments on that fight that I think were very enlightening, and you could really draw the parallels with trading and the mental game that I talk about all the time. In the first round of that fight, and Kamaru Usman, he's a fantastic fighter. Actually, this was going to be a record in terms of the number of title defenses. He was going to surpass George St. Pierre, who is a Hall of Famer, or will be a Hall of Famer. He's the greatest welterweight in the sport. But he was going up against a very tough challenger, this guy Gilbert Burns, who's known for his striking. He's known for his power and his punches. And in the first round of that fight, Usman got rocked. I mean, he got hit hard, and he got rocked. And the fight commentator, who I listened to today, was pointing out, it was very true and very correct what he was saying, how, in a situation like that, what separates the true champions from even the good or the great fighters is that Usman was able to stay calm and reset. Okay, he was able to refocus. He was very patient in his approach after that. A lot of times when you are in a difficult situation, when you are in a threatening situation, you tend to speed things up. You tend to panic. You tend to want out of that, in the worst possible way. When in reality, what is required in that situation is focus, becoming centered, and slowing things down. Okay, that's how you take control again. And then there was another video. I was watching a video, an interview of Laird Hamilton. Some of you might be familiar with him. He's a big wave surfer. He rides these waves all over the world. They're like 80, 100 feet. I mean, these massive, gigantic waves. And one slip up, one fall off of these waves, and you're dead. You're just going to be ripped apart. And a lot of big wave riders have died, as a result of trying to conquer these giant waves. And he even admits, if I fall, I'm dead. And he said that, a lot of good surfers can ride big waves. But again, the ones that separate themselves into the super elite level are the ones who can take the punishment, take the beatings. All right, you're going to tumble, you're going to fall. I mean, there's going to be times where, he talked about one wave that he rode in Tahiti, like this massive, gigantic wave. And the entire time, and again, he said the ride is only like 7-8 seconds long, but it seems like hours. He had this whole conversation in his mind at the time he was riding it, saying, I got to jump off. I got to jump off. Like, he was really, really scared, and he was having this conversation with himself saying, I got to jump off. But then at the same time, he was saying, I'd rather be knocked off than jump off. All right, if I get knocked off. And he held on, and he persevered through this wave, and it was like a major goal achievement in his life. But there's so many parallels there. I'm sure you can see the parallels between, you know, what we do, and it's not, what we do is not life-threatening, okay? So I mean, just toss that out. But a lot of people react to it almost like it is life-threatening. You know, they even in their language, they say things like, I'm getting killed, I'm getting destroyed, right? When the thing to do in those situations is to reset, is to refocus, is to become centered, slow things down. Okay, you got to slow things down. That's how you take control again in a fight situation. That's how you take control of the fight. That's how you take control of yourself in a trading environment where things become stressful. It took me a long time to learn that and a long time to apply that. I mean, it's one thing to understand that. It's another thing to apply that. That's why I say to people so many times, you know, I don't like when you hear, you know, people give advice and say, well, you got to be disciplined. Like, what does that mean? What does that even mean? And how do you do that? That doesn't help anybody. That's just like throwing out a cliche. Oh, you got to be disciplined. Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to go on to this great fortune. I mean, it helps nobody. The way you develop the toughness is the same way these fighters develop the toughness, the same way Laird Hamilton develops the toughness. You have to frame what is going on in a way that is beneficial, especially in conditions or circumstances that are challenging and difficult and stressful and cause discomfort. The wrong thing to do is to flee. And it's interesting because that is what is put out there as good advice. And that's frankly why I believe most people don't make money over time as investors or as traders, because they latch on to this kind of fake, phony advice that says take losses, run, as opposed to work through it. You know, and it's not just athletics. I did a couple of videos here talking about Garry Kasparov, the great Grandmaster chess champion, and he talked about chess in exactly that fashion. Like, you don't know the outcome. It's a game of chance. There's strategy involved. But he says, you know, when things are not going his way, he pushes through. He finds a way to push through. Very fascinating. Anyway, the thing I want to talk about today is we're seeing a very significant, now it's starting, all right? I've been talking about reserve balances, the impact of reserves on bank balance sheets. The latest data from the Fed for the week ending yesterday, February 17th, we saw a $115 billion increase in bank reserves to a new record of $3.4 trillion. Bank reserves have now risen $205 billion in the last 2 weeks. The Fed's balance sheet is up to $7.61 trillion. That is a new record. I don't know what they're doing here, to be honest with you. I mean, they're just, and I'm amazed at the resilience of bank stocks right now with this tsunami of reserves being piled onto their balance sheets. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I've done a bunch of videos on this. Better yet, you should go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader, because I talk about this to my subscribers all the time. But this kind of turbulence we're seeing in the market right now, this correction, even though I'm impressed by its resilience, this may be the first effects, if you think of it like a storm coming in, and these are the outer bands of winds and rain that are coming in. It's quite possibly as a result of this massive reserve dump into the banking system, and really hasn't even begun yet, because Treasury, according to its statements and its plans, intends to reduce its balance at the Fed by, you know, 800 billion or almost $1 trillion over the next few months, while at the same time it's going to reduce treasury sales. Remember the video I made the other day about what are treasury sales? That's like the bilge pump in a boat. It empties out water so the boat doesn't sink. If you're reducing treasury sales, you're shutting off the bilge pump. The boat floods with water. Anyway, going to be very interesting to see what happens. Go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. And remember, you got to think like an elite athlete. Do what they do. Bye.